My name is Brittany Claybrooks. I am a second-year graduate student at the NYU Wagner School of Public Service, where I study urban planning and development, and my focus is housing and economic development. So currently I serve as the president of the Wagner Black Student Association, as well as a fellow in the Social Sector Leadership Diversity Fellowship here at NYU, and it's run out of the leadership office on 12 Washington Place. Well, if you're talking about NYU, I specifically find myself influential in not only just the Black community, but also the urban planning community that we have at NYU. I find myself contributing a lot of what it's like to be from an urban background, and I bring that to the conversation oftentimes, and I think it adds just a little bit of context for the cities that we plan for. But then in the meantime, in my spare time, I also work in East Orange, New Jersey, where I live. It's also an urban environment, and I sit on a committee there where we talk about housing and economic development. So in addition to the Black community at NYU and even in my grad school, I find myself being more so influential in the urban planning space here at NYU and outside. So that's a loaded question because I have a few definitions of it. But for me, mostly to be influential means to make a difference. A lot of times folks think of being influential as leading other people, or getting a lot of likes on Instagram these days, or being very popular. And while those things come with it, I think the biggest part of it is making a difference and leaving whatever space you enter into better than when you found it. I'm sure this interview is not long enough to name all of them, but for me, first and foremost has been my dad. He's been extremely influential in my college process period, because he was like my biggest cheerleader when it came time to even apply for college, and then going through anytime I ever wanted to quit, he was always there to say, no, you're not going to quit. You're doing this for your family. And so for me, I would have to say number one on earth, it would be my dad. But then outside of that, it would be, I believe I'm a spiritual person. And I think that God has been my biggest influence on everything that I do. So in the short term, every student's goal is to graduate, walk across the stage, and get the degree. And so I do want to obtain my master's in urban planning from here, at NYU. But long term, I would love to retire as the director of housing and economic development or community development of a large city, preferably in the Midwest, where those cities have been heavily affected by post-industrialization. There's, buildings left over, and there's so much to do with them. And I'd like to have a say in what's done with those places. And so that's what's next for me, hopefully, in the end.